Today, we're going to be going over every single one of the Jordan releases this winter of 2023 to 2024. Starting it off with a bang, we got the Jordan 11 Gratitude. These are dropping on December 9th for $230. This is a pair that we've been waiting for such a long time. Now, if you've been collecting sneakers for a while, you might refer to these as the DMP 11s as I do, the Defining Moments Pack 11. Of course, you're not going to get the other pair from this pack when you purchase these, so you could call these the Jordan 11 Gratitude. Either way, these are an extremely hot pair that a lot of us are really excited for because we haven't seen them since their very first initial release. They're coming in exactly the same colorway with the white, black, and that milky outsole. I'd say this version has a little bit more of a milky outsole compared to the last one, which was more translucent, and I'd say this pair actually looks a little bit better. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. But aside from the outsole and the gold Jumpman, as you could see, these look very similar to the Concord 11s, and that's why a lot of people really like them too. It's a super universal Jordan 11 with that beautiful patent leather. Now, while these are dropping on December 9th, we likely will be seeing an early shock drop for these. So, as always, if you want early information for shock drops, consider joining Endurance with the link below. When it comes to any type of shock drop, we always have your back way ahead of time. This way, you're always ready and prepared when they occur. Just recently, we saw a Dunk Reserve shock drop, and that was a very interesting one because Nike did mess with the time that was on the endpoint, and that's the endpoint that all these public sources use, and that's why you saw everyone saying it was going to be 1 p.m., but that wasn't actually the case. It ended up being 12 p.m. So if you were in Endurance, you were prepared for that, and obviously I'd like to get you guys all prepared for that, so you could consider joining with the link below. And you'll also see now there's a little free tier on the Endurance page that you could consider joining. Now, this is not Endurance you're getting access to, but it's just another way that I could help you guys out for completely free with some basic sneaker info, so feel free to join for that below. And also on top of that, every couple of weeks I'll give you guys access to one random free channel in Endurance, just so you could get a taste of what we offer, because it's so much more than just sneaker release info. So feel free to check that out. Again, it's completely free, so why not? Now, when it comes to resale predictions for these, it's not going to be great, but you can still make some money, and let me explain how. First of all, this is an extremely high stocked pair like we normally see with Jordan 11s for holiday releases especially. There's going to be over 1 million pairs of these produced, but of course that is matched with their very, very high demand. So even though there's tons and tons of stock, there's still a lot of demand for these because it's such a sought after colorway, so they're still going to be selling for over retail. Now, because the retail is $230 after seller fees on platforms like StockX or GOAT, wherever you're going to list these, you're going to be left with little to no profit if you have tax in your state. If you have no tax, then you might be able to make a couple dollars profit on those platform fees. Nothing really significant. However, the real way you can make money when it comes to these, or any Jordan 11 really, is to sell locally. And this is really easy when it comes to Jordan 11s because this is a silhouette that really everyone loves. Doesn't matter if you're really into sneakers, just the general public will eat up. So you can list these on the Facebook marketplace, you can list them on your Instagram page, however you typically sell your shoes locally. This way you could avoid those hefty seller fees and you can still make a good profit. And even though the margin won't be great because of the high retail, you're still going to be able to make a lot of money on this release just because you could get so many of these pairs because there's going to be so much stock. Next up, on December 16th for $150, we have the Jordan 2 Low Christmas. This is just another Jordan 2 Low, which is already under retail in the secondary market, so obviously you're not going to want to purchase these with resale intention. But if you do want a pair of bowling shoes, these might be for you. You know, it doesn't look too bad with that black upper, and it's perfect for the holiday season with those. What am I saying? These are garbage. Next up, on December 20th for $200, the Jordan 14 in all black is going to be dropping. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Jordan 14s, and I know a lot of you guys probably aren't either, but for those of you who are, this is a universal colorway that's going to match with pretty much every outfit you can't go wrong with. And I do have to say, it is pretty cool that they use the suede upper. You don't normally get to see that. Otherwise though, it is just another Jordan 14. These are not going to sell for above retail, and if you do want a pair, you could probably get them on sale if you are being patient. Next up, on December 23rd for $180, we have the Jordan Jordan 1 High Celadon. This is another craft pair. Personally, I don't think the green and orange goes too great together, but I will say, because of the shades that they chose, you can make some pretty decent outfits with these. It's not a universal colorway at all. It's going to be difficult to pull off. Overall, I can't see these having too much demand. So like many Jordan 1s that we've been seeing lately, I'd probably expect these to sell for around retail to below retail. Wouldn't suggest these for resale purposes. Don't know if they'll go on sale, but you could probably get them for below retail in the secondary market if you are patient. Alright, now moving into 2024 with a bang. Not. First, on January 10th for $175, we have the Jordan 2 women's sale. You know, these are just fantastic. Nah, I mean, let's be real. No one's excited for these. Why are you dropping so many fucking Jordan 2s? So obviously these are not going to be profitable. Probably going to go below retail. If you want a personal pair, just be patient. Not much to say about these, really. You know, moving on to January 13th for $200, the Jordan 3 Midnight Navy will be dropping. I have to say, this is definitely one of the nicer 3s that we're going to be getting. It reminds me of the True Blue 3s, but of course without the red. Definitely a very wearable colorway. The navy accents are just perfect for these, but regardless, like many Jordan 3s recently, I don't expect these to be profitable. At best, they might just sell for slightly over retail, where if you have no tax, maybe you can make a little profit selling locally off of platforms, but if you're selling on platforms after fees, you're probably not going to be able to profit off of these, but nonetheless, it's a pretty solid personal pair, I have to say. But next up, we have another colorway of the Jordan 1 Low Chinese New Year. This time, it is themed for the year of the dragon, since it is 2024. In addition to the culturally themed colors, we get beautiful details of dragon scales across that green part of the sneaker. I was born in the year 2000, the year of the dragon, so I'm really hoping I could get my hands on a pair of these, but I know it's going to be difficult considering how these Jordan 1 Chinese New Year releases work. I know a lot of them are extremely limited. One pair I know was 5,000 pairs, and they mostly released just in China, so it's going to be a difficult one, but nonetheless, we're going to try our best, of course. Anyway, I'd expect these to be profitable with a very good margin, like other colorways of these Jordan 1 Chinese New Years that we've seen in the past. I don't think this one is going to be too different. Then, on January 27th for $180, we have the Jordan 1 Yellow Ochre dropping. This reminds me of a Jordan 1 that we saw back in 2018, I think it was, part of a pack of 4 Jordan 1s. The name is slipping me right now, but I'll put them on the screen. Those are super hyped up back when they first released. They're obviously part of a more limited pack. I don't think these are going to be as limited, of course. It's definitely a clean colorway, and on top of that, they have a black swoosh, white mid panel, and a white toe box. Those typically tend to garner more demand. Yellow isn't the most wearable colorway. It isn't the most in demand, but nonetheless, I do still think there is potential, at least, for these to sell just slightly above retail, leaving potential for maybe lunch money with a very poor margin. Nothing crazy, because Jordan 1s in general haven't been performing too well lately, but we'll see how these end up doing. I think I do still have a little bit of hope for them, but either way, they make for really solid personals if you do want a yellow pair of Jordan 1s. Then jumping into February, on the 3rd for $200, the Jordan 6 Yellow Ochre is going to be dropping. This is pretty much the same exact color and very similar material too, at least on the yellow part, which is that nubuck suede material. I think these look pretty nice. I'm personally a fan of the yellow, but I know most people aren't going to be, unfortunately, and in general, Jordan 6s just don't tend to do too well, so I'd have to say for these, personal only, but if you do want a personal, I'm not sure these are going to go on sale. If anything, maybe slightly below retail in the secondary market. Next up, everybody's favorite, we got a Jordan 2 Low again, this time in the Python colorway. These are dropping on February 7th for $155. That's right, Jordan Brand had the audacity to increase the retail by $5 on these. Are you Personally, I'm not a fan of them, but I know I'm slandering Jordan 2s a lot, so I gotta say something nice about them, I guess. Nah, I don't have to. Next up on February 10th for $200, we got the Jordan 13 Blue Gray. Personally, not a big fan of this colorway, but you know, they might be nice if you're fucking Hertz employee. You can't make this shit up. They put an ad for Hertz right next to that. Like most Jordan 13s recently, I'd have to say these are probably just going to be personals, and you might even be able to grab them on sale. Then next up on February 14th for $180, we got the Jordan 1 High Women's Metallic Gold. Personally, not a big fan of this colorway with the gold and overall white. Maybe not the most wearable, but you know, if you dress like, what's the his name from Johnny Test, you might be able to pull these off in that case. but in terms of resale, I don't expect these to be profitable like most Jordan 1s recently. These are probably going to be just personals, and if you're patient, you might even be able to grab these on sale like we've seen on metallic Jordan 1s before. Next up, we got another Jordan 1 85, this time the Jordan 1 85 metallic burgundy. Now, this actually is not the Jordan 1 metallic red colorway. It's actually slightly darker, and now it's going to be making its return in OG form, the 85 cut. These drop on February 16th for $200 on Nike sneakers and Nike boutiques. 85 cuts have managed to maintain pretty decent demand on each release and remain profitable, and I think this will remain the case for these as well, so most likely lunch money or slightly better with a subpar to decent margin on most sizes and slightly better for the larger sizes. Next up, we have the Jordan 4 Bred Reimagined. I'm sure tons of us are super excited to get a Bred 4 back in general since the last release was in 2019, but I'm not sure how to feel about the leather reimagined aspect of it. I think I would have preferred a simple vintage, aged look with the original materials like we saw in the Jordan 1 Lost and Found, but overall, I still like them. Anyway, these drop on February 17th for $215. Also, you could expect an early shock drop for these and many more for upcoming hype sneakers, so make sure to follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, for urgent updates on these. And for early information on all kinds of shock drops and much more, Endurance always has your back. Like the recent Jordan 12 or Jordan 1 Satin, Endurance always has your back, along with much more, which goes far beyond just sneaker reselling. So if you're looking for a profitable side hustle, you could consider joining with the link in the description below. Anyway, you can expect these Jordan 4 Breds to be profitable with a good margin. Despite it being a new material, it still is one of the most sought after Jordan 4 colorways, and Jordan 4s just have really solid demand in general. Let me know if you're planning to grab a personal though. Next up, on February 24th for $180, we have the Jordan 1 High Reverse Panda. These pretty much have the same color blocking as the Jordan 1 Shadow, but they are of course in white and black. Personally, not a big fan of this color blocking, but it did look cool in the shadows. Obviously, that's a classic Jordan 1 colorway. Can't say the same for these. Unfortunately, like many Jordan 1s recently, especially without a black swoosh white mid panel, I'd have to say these are probably going to be just personals, and you'll probably be able to get them for below retail in the secondary market too. They might even go on sale. We'll see. Also on February 24th for $180, we'll be seeing the Jordan 14 Low Women's Mineral Teal. This is definitely one of the more unique colorways. In general, I'm not a big fan of Jordan 14s, and I know a lot of you guys probably aren't either, especially when it comes to Jordan 14 lows, but the colorway is pretty cool nonetheless. Like most Jordan 14s, I'd have to say personal only for these, and you might even be able to get them on sale if you are patient. Then on February 28th for $200, we'll be seeing the Jordan 5 Women's Lucky Green. For once, Jordan Brand's actually timing a themed release pretty well. That's because obviously St. Patrick's Day is only a little while away, so you'll actually be able to get your pair in before the holiday. So often we're used to seeing Jordan Brand dropping Halloween sneakers in November or on Halloween, and then by the time you get them, it's already past. Like, what's the point of that? This time, it looks like they're actually doing it right. So if you are looking for a themed colorway for March season, this is pretty much perfect for you. In general, it's a pretty nice colorway. You know, you got those Celtic colors going on. I know a lot of people will like those. Personally, not a big fan of it, but it's definitely not the worst Jordan 5 we've seen. Unfortunately, though, like most Jordan 5s, I do expect these to just be personals. I don't expect them to go on sale, but we'll see what happens. Then on March 2nd for $210, we have the Jordan 3 Craft Ivory dropping. These look really close to an aged version of the Pure Money 3s. Of course, they're not the same, they're not all white, but it does look pretty interesting, especially if you look closely on the tongue at the Jumpman. Pretty cool how they have that second Jumpman on it, sort of like a shadow. So overall, I definitely think it's a pretty nice Jordan 3. Unfortunately, like most Jordan 3s, I'd still expect these to just be personals for the most part, but I can see these being decent local sellers if you manage to sell these without platform fees, or definitely if you have no tax, especially in those larger sizes, but we'll see as we approach the drop. Overall, wouldn't expect that much from these, but they are pretty solid personals if you ask me. Then on March 6th for $170, we'll be seeing the Jordan 1 High Women's Dusted Clay drop. I don't think these are going to do well at all. Probably going to sell for below retail in the secondary market. You'll probably be able to get them on sale too. not much to say about these otherwise. Then on March 9th, for $210, we have the Jordan 5 Olive dropping. Very similar to the Jordan 1 that we talked about just earlier. Obviously, green and orange isn't going to be the easiest to pull off, but because of the shades, I definitely can see it being possible. If you're creative enough, props to you. Personally, I don't know if I could do it, but can see it working. Pretty cool colorways, definitely something different from Jordan, so you do like to see that. Overall though, like most Jordan 5s, I'd have to say these are just going to be personals, and you might even be able to grab them on sale if you are patient. Then on March 16th, for $200, the Jordan 4 Women's Sale is going to be dropping. Now, like we went over before with the Jordan 1 Metallic Gold, of course the color combination with gold is going to look a little bit tacky, but I'll stop with the gold slander because, you know, I do love my CR7 Air Force Ones. You definitely can make these look nice if you do it correctly, and I think it definitely does look a lot better when it comes to Jordan 4s, especially when it's just on the metal, so it's done pretty subtle enough on these. And like many Jordan 4s we've been seeing recently, I can see there being potential for at least lunch money, especially on the larger sides for these. Nothing crazy, but a profitable opportunity nonetheless. Then on March 20th, for $210, we got a Jordan 14 Flint Gray dropping. We're seeing quite a bit of Jordan 14s in 2024. As you can see, this is another very universal colorway, pretty easy to match with most outfits. Not a big 14 fan myself, and I'm sure most of you guys aren't either. Hence, these are not going to be profitable. Personals only. You'll probably be able to grab these on sale if you do like them too. Next up on March 23rd, for $210, we have the Jordan 9 Powder Blue. Now, I might surprise you with this one. So, I'll start off by saying we don't get to see a lot of Jordan 9s. I think the last Jordan 9 that I ended up keeping was the Jordan 9 Chili. Pretty awesome pair, all red, I have to say. But when it comes to these, being a UNC color, and the fact that we don't see a lot of Jordan 9s, even though it's not the most sought after silhouette, I do think that this colorway specifically definitely has potential for profitability, especially in large sizes, maybe even more than lunch money. We'll see as we do get closer to the drop, but overall, I'm pretty optimistic for these. At the very least, though, I definitely want a personal. I'm a big fan of these. Then on March 30th, for $180, we have the Jordan 1 High Craft Sea Glass. This is pretty much just a worse version of Jordan 1 Sea Foam, so I'm definitely not expecting these to be profitable. In fact, they're probably going to go on sale too, so be patient if you do want a personal. But when it comes to all these sneakers, of course, I am going to keep you guys updated as we get closer to each of these releases. Some things might change, so just make sure you are subscribed and enable post notifications, and also follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, for urgent notifications like shock drops, and for early info before they actually occur. Make sure to join Endurance with the link below, and of course, remember to check out that free little option I have for you guys too, just so I could help you guys out a little extra. And of course, you do get to try out one random free channel of Endurance every couple of weeks. Again, you could join with the link below. Other than that, though, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.